It's Here with Sudhi and Suchi.
This is Here It Here with Sudhi and Suchi, and this is the show where you get to hear everything about Bollywood, what's going on now, what's going on in the future, and what's going on, what went on in the past. But speaking about the future, that gets us into our first story, which is about none other than John Abraham.
He's back again?
He's back to attack.
Is he going to be
attack.
back in like a triple role?
No, he's back to attack.
Wow.
Why do I say that? Because Attack
Is a new film.
Yeah, is the film which has John Abraham in it, and he has a chip on his shoulder.
And he plays a soldier.
Yeah, but he has a chip on his shoulder about what? Not about some family thing or anything like that. He actually has a chip on his shoulder. You see?
Well done, thanks.
Yeah, so this is about him like having this. It's like this futuristic type of movie where he literally has something implanted.
So when like somebody actually goes up to him saying you have a chip on your shoulder.
And he said, yeah. Then, he has the last word in that one.
Yeah.
But yes, this is apparently about, this some cyber
Technology, yes.
Cyber technology, and he's got this
GPS tracking of humans and everything.
Yeah. And the action, my God, in this film, I've seen the trailer and my God.
Really? That
action.
good, huh?
Yeah. It's incredible, quite incredible. And of course, John Abraham, king of action and all of that, he's...
But Suchi, weren't you telling me that this film has like 2 parts or maybe 3 parts?
Three
parts.
Apparently, they're saying 3 parts.
So he's doing everything in like triplets, right? I mean, 3 roles.
Naturally, अगर tiger एक था,
Oh,
फिर
no.
दूसरा tiger है
Tiger.
और tiger अभी जिंदा भी है. That is 3. Okay. Then Brahmastra is also 3 parts.
उसकी तो पहले भी नहीं रिलीज
That's also true, yeah. Like Brahmastra.
हाँ, but ठीक है, fair enough.
There'll be Brahmastra 1.
But it's a good thing,
2,
yeah. I think it's a good thing.
And Brahmastra 3. I'm still into that one.
I know.
Yeah? But attack. So then it'll be Attack is the first one. Attack is the second one. Attack will be part 3. Okay.
Are you enjoying this, Suchi?
Yeah.
Really, right?
Jacqueline Fernandez is in Attack. with me.
She is, yes.
Jacqueline
She's
Fernandez.
of course gone through a slightly turbulent time, but
A bit of controversies have been surrounding
yeah.
Jacqueline Fernandez.
but she's back apparently now in action
Yeah, she's back in action.
because she's had 2 releases, na? Bachchan Pandey and Attack.
Bachchan Pandey and Attack are 2 of her releases.
Yeah.
And speaking, since we're still on the topic of Attack, apparently John says that, he's way ahead of Elon Musk as well. Why? Because Elon Musk had talked about, this whole futuristic technology of actually people having chips.
They'll
He said,
implant them with like
implant
chips.
them,
Would you get one done?
No chance.
But what if you were supposed to?
I'll still say
No chance?
no chance. But then if they say, Arey, John Abraham ke paas hai, then I'll say, okay.
Wow.
Yeah. So Elon Musk apparently had this technology that he was talking about.
He's quite serious about it. He's saying that by maybe 2023.
So what do you think? John Abraham is not serious about it or what? He's very serious
He's
about
a
it.
soldier.
Soldier.
With a chip on his shoulder.
Soldier with a chip on his shoulder. Oh, lovely one. Banungi main Miss India.
But Suchi...
No, I can't be Miss India. I have to be Mrs. India.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, but Rakulpreet Singh was Miss India.
Correct.
Right? And she's been doing damn well in Bollywood. She's one after the other. She's having some sort of, some releases or the other. Attack is one. Attack.
Stop it.
she's in Attack where she plays.
I start going for shelter whenever you do that.
Where she plays a scientist.
Right.
But we're also going to see her with Ajay Devgan in Runway 34, where she plays a pilot. I read somewhere where it says Rakulpreet Singh has a very interesting role in Runway 34. Now, she's playing co-pilot.
Co-pilot of her.
I'm really wondering. I was wondering whether there's some ulterior purpose of her being in that.
Oh, she might have some like a grey angle to
Maybe she's a
herself.
robot or something like that. I don't know.
She might be on autopilot.
But I hope she's not acting on autopilot. She's doing pretty well, Rakul.
She is,
way to go,
yes.
girl. Way to go, and all the very best for things to come. Diwana tera hai. Diwana tera hai. I don't remember.
Dawai lao, please.
Diwana tera hai. Why am I doing that?
Suchi, you're getting me all worried.
I know I'm getting you worried.
Fair.
That is the only line I remember. Of this song which made our next guest
So popular and
very popular. That was a really hit song of his, I think.
Fine actor, man. And I remember when I first ever saw him was in Mr. India as well.
Correct. Who are we talking about?
I don't know.
How don't you know? We're talking about the very adorable Aftab Shivdasani, who is talking to us from the UK.
Hear it here with Sudhi and Suchi.
Here we are again on Hear It Here with Sudhi and...
Suchi.
No, I sing better than you, okay?
That's obvious. You're a professional singer. What do you want me to do?
Yeah, I may sing better
She
than
has to
you.
always do this, by the way, like kind of a self-promote herself. Anyway, yes.
Keep quiet. But people, who you're going to meet today, someone very sweet. Someone who was and is, of course, now we call him handsome, then we call him really, really cute. Even at that time, he said things like, "Rishte mein to hum tumhare baap lagte hain. Naam hai Baby Shahenshah." Yes, he was the Baby Shahenshah in the movie Shahenshah. We're talking about none other than Aftab Shivdasani. Welcome.
Welcome to the show. Yes, the man,
Thanks,
the
guys.
myth, the
Thanks, guys.
legend. Okay, Aftab,
Thank you.
off the bat, I have to ask you this. You got the Farex baby campaign, right? When you were 14 months old. So I just wanted to ask you this. I'm being very curious about this. Did you feel...
About the audition?
No. Did you feel that you got your break a little too late in life? Yes.
I did, man. I actually, I should have started straight from the OT.
Exactly.
As soon as I popped out, 14 months I waited, man. That's a long time.
That's a long time. I wasn't even
So I've
potty
been-
trained back then. But then again,
Yeah,
that's
that's your
another
story. Okay, let's listen to his. Aftab, I mean, seriously, one hell of a journey, and we're literally talking about one hell of a journey. And as I said, you were even Baby Shahenshah. I mean, when
That's a really cool intro. Thanks, Suchi. I've not heard that one before. I've not heard that one. Well done.
Well, now, baap to aap ab ho gaye ho, to your own baby, and we'll get to that later. But, for a young artist, for a young child artist to work with, did you work with Amitabh Bachchan
like
actually
on set and whatever?
Did you meet him or did you?
So post Farex, what happened was I didn't audition, but I went and met Shekhar Kapoor sir for Mr. India. That
That's
was
right.
the first film that I did. Shahenshah came soon after because in those days in 1985 this was.
Yes.
1985. There was more word of mouth. There was no internet. There was no the auditions were less on camera, more word of mouth.
Yes.
So because I was one of the kids in Mr. India, the word spread, and then somebody told Tinu Anand that he was looking for a boy who could play junior Mr. Bachchan, and then he, I think, asked somebody, and somebody recommended my name to him. And then it just happened. Like, at that point in time, when you're a child artist, you're doing one film, you start like a chain effect, you do many.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
So that's how it used to happen.
Probably
at
with
that point.
advertising as well. Was that the case as well with the advertising situation?
Yes, but there was still a lot of auditions for the advertising industry because I came from there. I was going to come to that, but the films, what happened, they were a little more particular. Ads, we would go through an audition, through what we used to call a video test. I'm sure you guys must be knowing the world of Everest building in Tardeo. And
Oh my God! All of them were there and famous. Famous and Everest.
So
yeah.
So all of them are either there or there. So I used to do at an average of, let's say, 1 or 2 auditions a day, literally, which was pretty crazy for a boy who was growing up.
Yeah.
So I mean, with films, that's how films happen. Shahenshah happened. But coming back to your question, no, I never unfortunately got to work with Mr. Bachchan. But of course, I worked with Kader Khan sir, Rohini Hatangadi ji, who were playing my parents at that point of time. And then, as you know, that he sees his father hanging. The junior, he sees Kader ji hanging on a noose. He's committed suicide, and that's how the boy decides to, grow older and take revenge, the typical revenge from everybody. At that point of time, the transition was कि बच्चे ने बाप को देखा और फिर कई सालों बाद you see a different scenario, for example, a pair of longer legs, a pair of bigger hands, and suddenly realize that the boy has grown big, or suddenly a big foot comes in the frame and stomps the frame, and suddenly all the dust, dhul mati ud jati, so all the cinematically they used to play with all these things. But that was my bit of tryst I have with Shahenshah. And then, like I said, after Shahenshah, I did CID with Vinod Khanna sir, Amrita Singh, Chalbaz as Ashri Devi's younger brother.
After that was obviously after Mr. India, where you worked with
that was after Mr. India. And then it was amazing that I got to do 2 films with her as a child actor. And then, of course, I did two films with Dev Saab, the late Dev Saab,
Nice.
Aval Number and 100 Crore.
Yes.
And there was one film called Insaniyat, where again I played junior Mr. Bachchan.
Nice.
Where there
Oh,
was
nice.
Sunny
Yeah.
Deol, Chunky Pandey, and Mr. Bachchan. So that was my film exposure. But yes, coming back to the commercials, I used to do a lot of commercials, and I used to go for video tests and what we used to call auditions
Right.
now.
Yeah,
We used
video
to call
tests.
video tests. I don't know why they were called video tests. And the whole casting director, phenomena that's happening today. We
Yeah.
used to be called model coordinators, if you remember.
Correct, of
Model
course.
coordinators in the 80s.
Of course.
And then those model coordinators now have become big celebrity management companies, etc. As you know, the transition has taken place even over there.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was the era. Very nice and pleasant era. And when we look back at the 80s, we all have some beautiful memory or the other.
Definitely. But
everybody goes, we talk about retro, we talk about 80s, right?
Yes, totally.
But I need to obviously ask you this, Aftab. I mean, growing up, purely just your childhood, while you were growing up, you had already kind of, hit the big time in terms of the advertising, the cinema, all of that had started to happen at a fairly early age.
Yeah.
How did it kind of affect you psychologically, if at all it did, in terms of your growing up years? Because those are very formative years.
Yeah, because it can be tough, even TV serials and all. I've seen.
And how did you kind of remain balanced or normal, or what was it like? I mean,
because everyone is like,
No,
that's true. That's actually a very good question, because it's a tough call, because when we talk about children, and once now we have children, we realize that the most important thing should be education. There can be extracurricular activities, there can be sports, there can be dramatics, whatever, but academics is always going to be the number one priority for any parent for their child. So at that point of time, I in school I used to get teased a lot. कि यार अरे यार तू वही है जो मिस्टर इंडिया में था, तू वही है जो चालबाज में था, तू वही है, तू श्रीदेवी का भाई था, तू you worked with Anil Kapoor, how was it like working with Mr. Bachchan? I was like, it's just something I enjoy, something I do. But then, kids at that age tend to get very peer pressure-ish.
Yes.
And everything has to look very socially correct, when you're in a group or a classroom. So yeah, there were times where I did get conscious, or I did get a bit perturbed about it, and I used to come and tell my mom, and she should say, what's wrong? It's a matter of pride. It's great because you're doing what one in thousands do. You're getting an exposure in front of the camera, what very few people actually get a chance to do at that age. People start off much later. Of course, now the era is very different with kids performing on reality stages. Okay, I'll come to that. I'll come to that a bit later, because that's also a very pertinent topic. I mean, it's just an offshoot of what we're discussing. But yeah, I full credit to my mother, who literally physically went to my school and sat in my class and took notes down, for my homework. And then there were loads of times where I used to study on the sets. Like all the other kids sometimes used to be playing, and I used to be sitting and doing my homework on the sets. And that is full credit to my mom. She made sure that my education did not suffer. I finished my schooling properly. I was a first class student, luckily. I was not exceptional, but I was not, I managed to do well.
Fair enough. Yeah.
But yeah, so that was, the thing is, it's an individual thing. Like today, if you ask me how did it's a formative years in my life, right? It was the years where a brain gets most influenced. Like that sets the platform for your future always. That's your conditioning. Where if that goes wrong, then the repercussions always happen much later in life, which you realize. So I'm very glad that I got that exposure to camera, because that's through those formative years is when I started realizing this is what I can do best. Of course, there were other ambitions that I want to become a cricketer. I want to do this. I want to do that, because, of course, cricket, as we know how popular it is in our country. But I think this is something that I found myself doing most naturally, without, like, I actually felt free like a bird when I used to be in front of the camera.
That's beautiful, honestly. Yeah.
So that's what helped me in my formative years. But I can't say the same about somebody else. Maybe somebody else
might have just gotten overwhelmed or whatever.
And might have had downsides to that as well, where they get so influenced, where actually, I feel scared for the generation today with the whole social media generation, with everything, that somehow they get so used to the attention that 10 years, 5 years, 7 years, 12 years down the line, if they don't get that kind of attention, then it can work completely
very negative.
So in my formative years, it helped me, and I mean, it actually pointed me in the right direction. I knew this is exactly what I want to do forever.
And Of course, and when you did start, films as a hero, etc., you were recognized and you won best male debut, etc. as well, right? When you started off, the journey from there. I mean, of course, and you've done quite a few genres of, you've done thriller, horror, you've done comedy, mega comedy, you've done romantic films.
You've done negative stuff.
As well. Which is the one that really intrigues you most? Which genre of film?
Might surprise a lot of people, but negative or something like a thriller.
Nice.
Something really intense, something that really chills my bones, or I can feel it really, really deep. Because I mean, as much as I love comedy and I love doing lighthearted stuff, I just think the more intense stuff challenges me as a person.
Absolutely.
I think it just reaches to a depth that I think lighter stuff can't reach as a performer. So that is what excites me as an actor. And if you look at my film trajectory, you'll see there's very little of that I have done.
Yeah.
And
unfortunately, actually.
Unfortunately is the right word. And I mean, that's something that I believe that there's a lot more to go. I mean, it's been a long time. I know you guys are going to have fun with this, but I've started in the 70s, literally.
Yeah, not too
1979.
Sorry, मैं भूल जाता हूँ Aftab, because it was such a struggling period for you.
I know, man,
such a late break.
I mean, I think even having done a fair bit of work, I do feel there's a large part of me that still needs to be tapped.
Yeah, because Saxena Saab was quite chilling, quite bone chilling. I mean, the character that you played, but no, I want to kind of get into this, Suchi. I mean, which is the fact that when you did make your film debut, the first couple of years, you were, of course, getting accolades as far as your performances were concerned. You were being celebrated, you were being applauded. But the films were probably not doing as well as they were expected to do. And that kind of carried on for quite some time. So, of course, then the big ones started to come through, which is like Avara Pagal Divana and etc., etc. So, but what was it like for you in terms of that during that time? It's tough, right? In terms of a performer saying, okay, fine, wait a minute. Do I need to just stick to my performance perspective? But still, I get celebrated, but the film is not doing well. What's going wrong?
Yeah. So, I mean, you kind of explained it in your own way, because an actor has only a certain amount in control. An actor, he or she can only control his or her performance. You cannot control the film. A film is, and I'm sure you've probably heard this, is a unified effort of hundreds of people. It's not just one person. Yes, the actor is the face of the film, and then all the brickbats or praises go to the actor. But an actor cannot dominate a film. An actor just cannot. An actor has given a job. He's a part of the film. I always believe. So as an actor, even at that point of time when the films do not work, I would just, I can't really take solace in the fact that people have praised my performance, because yes, that is gratifying to an extent. But of course, an actor seeks a box office success for his or her film.
It's like a cricketer hitting a century, Aftab. I mean, he wants to win. You know what I mean?
That's the perfect analogy, actually. I mean, if a cricketer hits a century, the team loses. I mean, the century goes in vain. It just adds up to the personal, the personal records and the statistics, which at the end of the day don't really matter. You want the team to win. You want people to celebrate the win, and then of course at the same time your century gets celebrated. So it's exactly what you said. I couldn't have put it better.
Since we're talking about cricket, you did mention cricket, and what would that have been like? How come, you said being a sportsman, being a cricketer could have been one of the ways that you went in life? When is it?
I'm smiling. I'm smiling because cricket is such a big thing in our country, right? I mean, every second Indian, every second Indian wants to become a cricketer. Sure, so I'm smiling because of that, and I mean, I was no exception. I did play at a decent level, but I just, when it came to actually making a career choice, you realize that I'm not saying there's no competition in either acting and cricket. There's competition in everything. But there's something that I was more drawn to as an actor, and I felt that's where my calling is. But as a cricketer, you need to be completely devoted, and you have to have that X factor. Which I think I didn't really have that X factor. I was playing at a club level, school, college, university level, but never at a national level. So I think that just kind of changed. And now cricket, of course, is a recreational sport and a passion. Still remains.
You still play, yeah?
Yeah, as much as I can. Yeah.
Oh, he's
fabulous.
from Britain,
So,
honey. Of
I'm so
course, he'll
sorry.
play cricket.
How dare I even question that at the Lords?
I don't play here, unfortunately.
Yeah, okay.
I wish I could, but
So what do you like? What do you enjoy doing? I mean, is it like fielding? Or is it?
Of course.
Have you ever asked a cricketer, do you enjoy fielding?
Yes,
You know what?
I have. And most of the times it is like, अच्छा अब batting बोलेगा, अब bowling बोलेगा, but fielding जैसे आते हैं then
And
everyone's
then they
like,
say, fielding off the ground. Yeah, fielding off.
But are you sure that person's name was not John T. Rhodes? He's the only person who'd probably say, yes, I enjoy fielding.
Man, what a cricketer, Aftab. My God. What a cricketer.
No, but I enjoy batting, and I bowl. I used to bowl with the left arm seamer. Now I kind of bowl a bit of spin.
Oh, nice.
But yeah, fielding is my least of my preferences.
Okay, so from movies, and the journey's been great in the movies as well. You've made people laugh, you've made people sit up and get scared, etc. Moving on to what's taken the whole world by storm, the OTT platforms, right? Which is where you just recently made quite a mark when we saw you in Special Ops 1.5. It was, frankly, I have to say, it was wonderful to see you back on screen.
So true.
It really was.
Thank you so much.
And what a fabulous performance.
And a lovely performance. Really lovely performance.
Thank
So since you've seen it from the advertising world to, films, acting as a child, acting as a grown-up star, and then moving to platforms like this, what has that journey been like for you? Has it been fascinating? Has it been like, oh God, I got to do this now? What's it been like?
As an actor, if you ask an actor, they will say the performance and everything, the approach remains the same. It's just the medium changes.
Yes.
For example, if it's like an ad film, I'm sure you guys have been exposed to so many ad films, Sujita. I'm sure you have, perhaps.
Yeah.
They are far more meticulous and far more precise about certain things in ad films, because when you're selling a product, you know how let's just say focused they are about selling the product.
Sure.
Correct.
Films, television, OTT, for an actor, the approach will always remain the same. Obviously, you search for a script and you see what the setup is, the director, all of that. But with the OTT thing, of course, people must have said this as well, and I would reiterate it, that you have much more time. You got 10 hours of footage now. In a film, you can play around with 1.5 to 2 hours of footage, but with the OTT now, you've got 8 to 10 hours of footage. So you can stretch out and lengthen out stuff in terms of screenplay, characters. So there you get more time to play. But as an actor, the approach remains the same. It's just that now people, of course, with the OTT, can watch it on their phones, can watch it at their home, on their TVs, on their laptops. So it's a matter of convenience now.
Yeah. Now, as an actor, as you said, moving from Bollywood to the South. Yeah, and you made quite a mark over there as well.
That was a very celebrated debut.
Yeah. What was that like? Yeah, the language and, did you say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1, 2, 3, 4?
I actually did a Tamil film in 2018, which with Arvind Swamy. It was a film called Bhaskar Oru Raskar, which was a remake of a very popular Malayalam film as well. And then the film with Sudhi right now in Kannada was my second film. So what happened is that I didn't learn any of the languages. I kind of developed a brand new technique, and I tried to learn. I couldn't learn more than 4 words at a stretch. And it's just any language. It's not just
it's
South.
quite tough.
Yes, it is.
South language.
And then I tried prompting. I tried somebody holding a placard. I tried every trick in the book, and then when it did not work, I just devised a brand new technique, and which is my own innovation, which is I called the AD, the guy who was supposed to help me with my lines, and I said, you know what, you say it grammatically how you would say it. Okay. Now, for example, you say, hi, how are you? In, let's just say Tamil, right? You tell me how you're going to say it in Tamil, and then he would say it, and I would record it on my phone, on my audio.
And
then I would match the timing of what he says. And wherever there is a per or a m or a b where your lips close, in any sentence, I would match my timing with when he closes his lips.
So for the dubbing artist, it actually so
it's easier.
Yeah.
So for example, if you can see me now, and if I'm saying a line to you on camera, there's a guy sitting off camera below. He's actually reciting the dialogues. So I'm making all the expressions and the faces and this, and so it's all my emotion and my facial expressions. and I'm moving my lips, but it's his sound, it's his voice.
Nice.
Correct.
So that's how I did both the films.
Dude,
which I
but that's
devised.
very tough, man.
Okay, so
Aftab.
we're
I
going to
mean,
try this one
yeah,
now.
let's
Yeah,
actually-
there's me going to say something. I'm listening carefully.
Yes.
Okay, just one small sentence, okay? So I'm going to say, hey, Suchitra, how you doing? Okay, that's as if you're saying it, okay? So, but I'll say it.
Okay. But I have to hear it. I have to study
Yeah,
it.
so I'm going to be saying, Day, Suchi, enna vishayam. Okay.
Okay, cool.
1, 2, 3. Day, Suchi, enna vishayam.
God, man, that was brilliant. Fabulous.
Yeah, so this actually worked with a couple of rehearsals. This worked, and then I asked the director. I said, "You know what? Does it look believable?" And then he looked and he says, "No." He said, "It looks believable. Look at your face. It looks believable." Anyway, somebody's going to dub it, right? It's not
Sure.
gonna be my
Of
voice.
course, yeah. But as long as you know,
So
as long as you know.
So we innovated that.
Absolutely.
But okay, Aftab, of course, I mean, that's, by the way, ingenious. But tell me this, as an actor, as a performer, with the OTT, I'm going to go back to that. With that entire thing kind of blowing up, do you feel now that as a performer, you have you're far more excited because of the kind of stuff now that is being written, the kind of stuff that you can choose? Maybe it's a lot more up to your kind of sensibilities and understanding. Maybe you didn't have that in the past.
And has the producer and you started thinking about producing something yourself?
Okay, so I'll answer the lady first.
Obviously, as well.
Yes, my wife and I launched a production company in 2020, but then COVID hit, so things kind of fell a bit of a standstill. But yeah, we are looking to produce films as well as shows on the OTT as well.
Congratulations, man!
Thanks very much. So we're looking to we started pitching. We're at a bit of a nascent stage as well. But yeah, we're definitely inclined towards that. So that will happen in time. Hopefully,
you need good actors.
I have two of them sitting right in front of me.
Dude, you're already a singer as well.
A singer, actor, performer, you name it. But yeah, I mean that's what I'm looking at in terms of as an actor and the kind of work that is being offered. You know, I'm quite. I wouldn't say it matches up to anybody's sensibility. I would say the only sensibility that it aims to match up to is what the audience is watching.
Sure.
You know, if the audience have liked something, then you know that this is what the audience is thinking, and that's what the OTT has provided and given to the people, where it kind of gives you an idea as to what people really want to watch because of the success the shows get on OTT. I did always try to do stuff that is ahead of its time. But of course, cinema was evolving, let's just say between 2000 and 2010. And then 10 to 20 was a different phase. And now 20 to 30 is going to be very different in terms of I'm talking about purely in terms of concepts that people are accepting.
Yeah.
Sure.
So the films may not have worked like you put it earlier. But now with OTT, yes, there is far more acceptance. There's far more, people are doing a little more risky stuff. People are trying to push the envelope and give people something, because there is no censorship. You know, there's sensibility, but there's no censorship. Of course, you know, when you try and make good.
It's a nice way
content,
to put it. Yeah.
So I mean, it's definitely an avenue for actors who like to do something different, who like to stretch the boundaries and do different things. So for an actor like me, it's a great thing. My first love is always cinema, and will be. But for me, it's a great avenue, and for actors or for other actors, where you get to really showcase with time, like I said, because you have 8 to 10 hours of footage, so you can have that liberty of showcasing a little more, where you perhaps in 1.5 2 hours, you're just going to kind of compress a lot of things. So it is the great opportunity, and we all know it's going to be here to stay. So the point is that you just got to make the right choices again and try and hope that everything that you put your fingers in works.
Speaking of making the right choices, throughout your film career, I mean, since you started out, was there anybody in the industry who, I mean, helped you make the right choices? Did you go to anybody for advice? Was there someone who you considered your mentor or someone who gave you the right advice?
No.
Nice. It was all on your own.
Nice.
Wow.
That's quite amazing.
That's how I would imbibe even to my children. Of course, I would, as a parent, I would try and imbibe, independence. But then, of course, the parents are always there. For me, my parents were not from the industry. I was the only person in my family. I am the only person who's, the first person to enter the industry. So I never really had relatives or people who could, yes, I mean, advice is free. Everyone gives you advice. But at the end of the day, it has to resonate with you. And it has to match up to what you want to do as well. So advice in general everybody would give, but somebody who's got your back and somebody who wants the best for you is very rare. So, and that person can only be yourself. You have to count on yourself.
Yeah.
And also in my case is that I wanted to take decisions of my own, because if I fail, I have to give myself the discredit for it. If I succeed, I give myself, I can see Suchi smiling.
That's
I can
beautiful.
give the credit of that to myself. I think that's how it should be.
Totally.
You know, I remember
agree with
after
that, totally.
somebody was telling me, Suchi, this, and I think it's probably what you did as well. And I think kudos to your parents in a big way. Why? Because I thought that the best way to bring up a kid, and somebody was sharing this with me, somebody who's obviously very well read and very, very spiritually heightened and all of that. And this person had said something very beautiful. They said that, you know, actually let the child, when they reach an age of about 12 or 14, let them start taking their own decisions. You obviously remain as a parent in terms of a safety net.
Yeah.
But they kind of start to understand things and you know, grow.
I totally agree.
No wonder my parents said okay when I had to play a rat in Cinderella. Then they wanted to act from then on.
It had nothing to do with the makeup.
I didn't need it. I looked like a rat then.
That's very funny.
Coming, no, seriously, I played Jake, the leader of the mice in Cinderella. That was my first stage
That's
performance.
sweet,
And
yeah,
that's where it
Did that mouse have to sing?
Yes.
So can you please do that?
There you go. There you go.
Now, what was the song in Cinderella which they all
Sing
sang
any.
with her? No. That will sing later. That will be for the end of the show.
Oh, God.
Okay. Coming to where you're at now, you're right now. Of course, we're talking to you while you're in London. Set aside all this COVID and whatever else. We don't want to talk about all of that.
Yeah.
Please,
But,
it's coming out of everybody's ears.
Everybody's ears. But work-wise, Aftab, we've all seen that internationally also now, every big project seems to have, an Asian face or an Indian in it, and good roles. We're not talking about just one passing, and going.
Sure.
Since Nin is from the UK, of course, and you do spend half the time there and here, is that what you're looking at also consciously, or you just wait and see to work abroad?
I think it's a combination of both. I definitely would love to do work, not only in the UK but anywhere in the world, because I think, like you correctly put it, Indians and Asians all over are being recognized as, they're being respected, they're being recognized, and their talent is being recognized. They don't really have to be from a particular a country, because cinema, I think, is a kind of a universal language. Even if you don't understand the spoken language, there are subtitles today. I feel even the whole thing about having an accent is getting a bit blur now. People are allowing Asians to come with their own accent. Of course, there is a certain set thing as well where you need to have a bit of an American twang or a British twang, etc., for certain roles. But also just taking an extension from what you said, even accents are now being accepted, because people do realize if you're perhaps from South America, you will have a bit of a Latin accent. It's not like you won't. And that is all over OTT, whether it's Amazon, Netflix, or any other OTT platform. So that is being accepted. But yes, it's a conscious yet unconscious decision. Of course, if there is work that is happening from here, I would love to do it. Of course, there is work happening from home, which is my base and always will be my base. I will always do that, and that's what I'm going to pursue. But like you said, if an international opportunity comes my way, I will definitely do it, if it's a good role and good whatever setup.
Which I guess in a big way also the fact that, Suchi, accents and everything, like after we're just talking about, they're no longer caricatures.
No, they're not.
Like
exactly.
From The Simpsons, if you remember, was a character. But no longer.
You're absolutely right. I think the world is also maturing. Just because you're an Indian, of course, the quintessential Indian might have a certain Indian accent, but
which is true,
that is also being and that is also being accepted.
And the
shaking of the head.
Exactly.
When we see shows and films that project this even today, we look at it as regressive.
Which is true.
And like this is almost like a caricature, and that's also true. So I think we're in that stage of evolution as well, where regardless of where you come, if you look the part, if you're a good actor, I think you can just be yourself, with your accent.
Now you've worn all of these hats up to now. What is that one thing that you haven't yet tapped, which you want to do more of?
See, I'm focusing primarily only on my acting.
अभी शादीशुदा है, फील्डिंग नहीं कर सकता.
That was brilliant. That is true. But I'm fielding now for my daughter right now. So
Nice.
I think
Navya,
that's the
is
only
that
kind
her
of
name?
fielding.
Is that
Nevea. Yeah, it's a bit of
Nevea.
a Nevea. Yeah, you got it right. It's a bit of a. It's not easy because a lot of people, when I say Nevea, they're like, Nivea? No, it's like it's got a twang like a Vea to it.
Nevea.
It's like, oh, okay. Oh,
What does it
really
mean,
nice.
though?
Before it, I was just. It means heaven, angels, gift from God in Arabic and Hebrew.
Beautiful.
Yeah, so that's the only kind of fielding that I'm doing, buddy, at this point.
That's fabulous.
Being a complete hands-on father. But yeah, I mean, of course, it's a different life. People who have kids, you would know that the whole dynamic changes.
Yeah,
So that's the
everything.
kind of feeling that I'm bringing. But yeah, coming back to your question about what I want to do, what is the hat that I want to don? I want to, like I said, there's a lot of things as an actor that I haven't explored, and now is a good time.
Have you ever done theatre, Aftab? Theatre?
I've
done theatre like you played the mouse.
Nice.
One of your parts.
We're gonna have her sing.
Yes.
Of course, that's happening after, right?
Yes. Yeah, absolutely, Suchi. You gotta give us a glimpse of that. I did one play in school,
Okay.
which was called Sunny and Sandy. I was in the 5th standard. I was 10 years old. That was one play I did, and in fact, not very many people know this. Perhaps only Arshad Varsi would know this. I played one of the background dancers in Arshad Varsi's show with Alik Padamsi.
Oh, nice.
Wow.
Called Roshni with Sharon Prabhakar.
Yeah.
And I had one line, and I had to pick up a bucket of water in one of the scenes. I was I did it because I wanted the exposure, and my sister used to also be part of Arshad's troupe. So I just said, let's do it. I get like, I think 150 rupees per show.
Yeah.
Let's do it. So I did it. That was in the 90s. And that was my only tryst with theatre, Suchi. This is nothing. For me, it was always the camera, always the films, and always, the camera.
Yeah. So,
you want to direct? He has
directing.
Which hat?
I like I said, I want to continue acting. There's a lot of things that I want to do as an actor. I want to produce. But like we spoke about the whole negative aspect as an actor, negative roles, etc. I feel there's now with the OTT, and of course, not only OTT, even with films, the kind of scripts that are being written are very different from what they were written 7, 8, 10 years ago. Now, with the whole idea of commercial films now is becoming very blurred. Like if you look at the recent films that are, let's just say commercial in the commercial type are not working because, the audiences are now so used to seeing something out of the box. The moment you show them something that's the run of the mill, they're like, whoever you are, I'm going to reject it. So even with films, there are a lot of exciting scripts being made. I'm listening to them. I've liked one or two of them, which are again out of the box. Nice. And perhaps if I had said yes to something like this 10 years back, I would be called a crazy person. But now the kind of films that are being written, are great. So as an actor, I want to focus on that. And as a producer, of course, there are a couple of things that Min and I are lining up, and we've started pitching. So that's the plan at the moment.
As far as Nevea goes, I know Suchi was going to get into that entire situation, so I'm going to prepare a little ground for her. As far as Nevea goes, how old is she now first?
She's turning 1.5 tomorrow.
Oh, fabulous.
Wow.
Congratulations.
I was thinking of the number of the dates. Yeah, actually the 27th.
That's fabulous. So that means she's also late in terms of making her debut.
she's very late. She's very late. Yeah, she hasn't gone on her father's footsteps yet.
But as a dad or as a father, are you obviously just gonna let that flow the way things do develop as far as she is concerned, or are you really looking at a career for her in terms of?
No. Nir and I both are very, very open-minded people. The kind of mindset we have as people is this mindset that we have as parents. Nothing changes. There's no separate rule for us or separate rule for her. I think we will let her evolve into the person that she is meant to be, and let her grow on her own. And someday we hope that she'll come and say, mommy, daddy, I want to become this, or I want to do this, and we would welcome it. I think because it is very important that we, like I said, imbibe this freedom in a child, so that they grow to be what they're happy with, because I've seen more than often parents try and infuse their own desires, their own ambitions in a child.
Unfulfilled.
And then the child,
So
like you say,
unfortunate.
and then you say in those formative years, a child then starts to feel, oh, I have to go here, I have to, because mom and dad is forcing me.
Absolutely.
And then 10, 15 years later, the child regrets it. And then the child has a certain amount of resentment against it. So we don't want that. We want her to just blossom into what she's meant to be. Of course, we will guide her as much as possible on the way and expose her to as many things, but then it's her destiny, right?
I know another person who does that fabulously well. Person sitting right next to me.
Wow.
He's fabulous.
Mark this moment, because he's giving you a compliment.
Aftab, what are those? What is that one talent or something about Aftab Shivdasani that people don't know yet? About your personality or anything about you that people don't know yet?
I'm finicky with my fingers. I hate dirty hands. And I have this, it almost comes across as OCD to Nin when I try and clean Nevaeh's face all the time when she's eating.
Yeah.
And she's like, you know what? She's a baby. Let her eat, and everything just...
Oh,
and she wears a bib. And I'm like waiting there with a wet wipe or a tissue, just waiting to just catch it and just hold it. So I almost have this OCD approach, but then I'm starting to calm myself down. And she's like, you know what? She has to feed herself. She's going to drop food. And I know you're going to pick it up, but just let her drop it. So I'm like, okay.
You know what?
I'm just looking at the floor. How many grains of rice and roti gir gayi hai. And then she eats, and then she chucks it.
थोड़ा खाओ थोड़ा फेंको अच्छा लगेगा.
And then she looks at me because she knows daddy's going to pick it up.
But the upside to this OCD, Aftab, is the fact that the last 2.5 years would have been a bloody breeze for you, man. कोई issue ही नहीं हुआ होगा.
Yeah, with everyone sanitizing hands all the time.
Exactly.
Yeah. Honestly, I mean, it's I can't say it's a boon or a bane, but yes, everyone is more conscious of sanitizing now.
Yeah.
Let's just say one of the little perks that have come out of this, that everyone is now conscious about hygiene.
That's right.
It got into everybody's brains. It just got like कीला मार के मतलब ठोक दिया सर के अंदर कि हाथ धोना पड़ेगा. But yeah, I mean, that's just a little quirk about me. I'm sure I will discover many more facets about myself that I didn't know. Now, as
that's
she
always
grows up.
fun, man. That's always fun.
Okay.
Yeah, and I mean, the thing is, I also one of the other quirks I have is I like short nails.
Okay.
Whenever my nails grow, like every 4 or 5, 6 days, I take the clipper and I clip it. That's something that not very many people know except my wife.
Amazing, man. Thanks so much for actually sharing that with us.
Coming up, we have Poison, right? That's your next
season 2.
No, Poison released. Poison came out in 2020.
I thought season 2, right?
But that was season 2. Poison happened. In fact, that was my OTT debut in October 2020. And then 2021 was Special Ops.
Special Ops, right?
Yeah, I haven't actively started working on something. I have liked 2 scripts and 2 shows. But now they are in negotiation. So I think they're going to happen soon. And then, of course, we will be talking about that next.
No, absolutely.
Seriously, honestly, really looking forward to it, because
really
I'm so happy to have you back in terms of...
No, seriously, it was
it
truly was great to see you again on
No, thank you. Likewise, and I'm so happy that I can see your genuineness, and I'm just grateful for that.
No, absolutely. No, it's been wonderful having you on Here It Here.
Thank you so much. And when she watches this interview, I'm sure she's going to want to touch the laptop, because now she wants to touch every gadget. She's going to want to press the keys when she sees this interview.
Please do say hi to Nin from me. I have met her with you, and a big hug and kiss to the little one.
Yes. Okay, I think she's woken up now. So now back to fielding.
Well done.
Thank you so much, Aftab, for joining us.
True pleasure, man. True pleasure. And Godspeed and all the positive energy.
See you soon.
Thanks, guys. We should definitely do this again soon.
For sure.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Absolutely. Bye.
Thanks, guys. You take care.
Here with Sudhi and Suchi.
Yeah, Suchi, after having spoken to him, I realized that, there's a new zest about him. There's a new energy about him. He's still, wanting to do so much more.
Absolutely. And that's a sign.
And that's amazing, because he started so young, man.
Yeah, I know. But Aftab, it's so nice to know that you're, back with a bang and you're going to be here to stay. All the best. to you and everything that you're going to do in the future. Anushka Sharma.
We all know her.
Yes, we all know her, and we know her to be a fantastic actress and a wonderful producer.
Yes.
Also, right? But Clean State Films, which is the company that she started with her brother, Karnesh Sharma. In, I think, 2013 is when they started that one.
Yeah.
She's decided to take a step back because she wants to go back to her first love, acting.
Fair enough, because she's done some amazing films, produced some amazing films, and NH10 being one of them.
She's produced not only amazing films, she's produced a really cute little baby as well, and she's given her enough and more time.
Correct.
So it's great news for all of us that Anushka Sharma is coming back onto the screen. We'll see her in Chakda Express, which is the story.
Biopic?
Yeah, the biopic about Jhulan.
Goswami.
Jhulan
The
Goswami.
highest wicket taker, by the way.
That's right. A lot of movies being made about women cricketers, which is a damn good thing. I think it's really
Mithali Raj के बारे में
There
भी
is
तो है
one,
ना
yeah,
Suchi?
about
हाँ.
Mithali Raj as well.
Yeah.
But
Shabash Mittu.
Shabash Mintu, that's right. And but Chakda Express, we had Chak De India, which was a big one for Shah Rukh Khan. Maybe Chakda Express will be a big one.
Big one for Anushka.
Now, Anushka, speaking of big movies that she's been part of, she's really been part of that, multi
Crore club.
100 crore club with Sultan, PK, and Dangal.
They were beyond the 300 crore club, na Suchi?
Yeah, they were beyond the 300.
So does that make her like the only actress who is in that club? Is she like elite member, treasurer
Seems to,
plus
I think
president?
So. Maybe she is. Who knows, actually. But considering how well all of these other actors are doing, like Alia, etc., I mean, we don't know whether Anushka is the only person in that
Club.
camp, club, whatever.
But it's good for her, yeah. It's good always to kind of...
Check it out, Anushka. Check it out, Express.
Suchi has to leave.
Sayonara, 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 sayonara.
Arigato.
Okay, we are talking some strange languages over here, which don't sound nothing like Japanese. Until we meet again on the next episode, this is Sudhi and Suchi saying goodbye. Until next time, we will see you here on Here It Here.
Here with Sudhi and Suchi.